Welcome everybody to Monarch Family Chiropractic. I'm Dr. Kristen Zawada. We are going to do some essential oils 101 and how to support natural health through and with essential oils, which, sorry, part of my screen just went away. Sorry about that. I must have deleted something on accident. So, welcome. We're going to talk about how we can incorporate this into our health, how we can incorporate things that are of a more natural makeup and content to support our health and well-being. We're going to cover a few things about, we're kind of going to take it back to basics because some people know nothing about oils. And I feel like if we jump in too fast, there's a lot people are questioning and there's terms they don't understand. So we're going to cover a few of those things, and then we're going to get into some fun stuff and just different ways in which to use the oils. But really understanding its background and what are we doing? What are we using it for? I don't know. Paige, can you take me out of? I guess, yeah. Sorry, guys, give us 1 second. Ah, there we go. I never know where that button is on her laptop. Okay, so what is an essential oil? Let's talk a little bit about the value of, this mouse is super touchy, what it is and how things have been derived. So they're natural compounds. There's a component that we want to discuss as far as where they come from. So getting something that's pure is really important. So when we're talking about an essential oil, essential oils have been around longer than any of us ever will be. It is truly stuff that has been used for thousands of years, coming from plant bark, flowers, the rind, seeds, all coming from natural sources in our ecosystem. What's nice about some of the companies that we use is a lot of it is also coming and sourced from here. Now there are things that aren't native to here that we get in other countries, but there's a lot that comes from what we have here in America. So essential oils can penetrate cells and eliminate threats through the helping of cells from that inside out. So again, it's a very congruent thought process, concept, philosophy of healing from the inside out, right? That is what chiropractic is about, from above down, inside out. How do we support the body to be its best naturally? So what's also a nice component with essential oils is it's not something like, say, in terms of what you can have happen with medications or things that you become immune to because your body gets used to it. You do not have that same kind of immune response with an essential oil. You don't become immune to the benefits of an essential oil. They are highly concentrated when they are pure. So, and distilled for that purity and potency if you use the right company. So I'll reference doTERRA a little bit here because that's the company I've used for 10 years. There are a couple other great ones, Young Living, ones like that. I just stay away from spending money and buying stuff over the counter at a grocery store or in some of the health food aisles, just because you do not know how they're regulated. You do not know what potency you're getting if it's not taken through a standard process. We'll talk about in a second. So if it is great, then I would trust what you're getting is what's on the label. And you just want the most bang for your buck and you want to get the benefit out of it. When people say they don't work, it's a lot of times because they're not using it consistently like anything else, and they're not necessarily getting something pure. A lot of stuff over the counter is just like our other things and lotions. It's filled with perfumes and just synthetic fake scents, if you will, that are not pure by any means, and certainly not all natural. They're more synthetic, made in a lab. Those types of things have chemicals in it that can irritate our skin, and this is all supposed to support and calm our from our inside out. So an example with a lot of pure oils is that you could take a drop of peppermint and it is like having several dozen cups of peppermint tea. That is the potency of a single drop. Lemon, same way, things like that people use into their tea. So, or into their drinks or into any of that they're doing. So things that you can ingest or even topically put on. This is not the more is better. More is more. It's not necessarily better for you. You can overdose, you can overdo, you can do too much of good things. So with oils, it's very similar like that with, you could take too much vitamin C. You could take too much of other good things that doesn't do well for your body. So because they're so much more powerful than herbs, that's why there's very little needed to get the benefits of them. So why oils? And this is a comparison where I'm going to go down this road for just 2 minutes or so of our workshop because it pisses me off, for lack of just a better word, and it should piss all of you off. And it should be very frustrating that this is our world when we are the biggest superpower nation in the world with the most technology, the most money and funds, and we don't use it properly with as far as what we do and how we, I feel like, abuse our bodies, and that we're putting so much into sick care. So there is a place for everything. And when we look at the choices we're making, that these are old stats too, my friends. This is not, I did not have time this weekend to pull up a more current 2020, say 2 and 21 stat from the past 2 years. But over the past decade, this is the trajectory numbers. After $6.5 trillion spent on what they call healthcare in our Western medicine, I would call sick care, every year, we are not healthier now than we were 5 or 10 years ago. I think most people could agree to that. So when we're looking at how things are viewed, it's kind of the health industry versus looking at something natural. It's really looking at what are we doing? Why are we doing it? What's the outcome? And what's the side effect of that thing, whatever it is. So we're basing today's healthcare a lot in Western medicine on medication. Pharmaceutical companies or labs make it, doctors prescribe it, and patients take it. Anything made in a lab is synthetic or has synthetic properties that your body has to work really hard to break down, and toxins that stay in our body that our body cannot necessarily always get rid of. So they build up, it creates that toxicity. We did an entire workshop a week or two ago about it when we covered the immune system, and I talked more about the supplement perspective of cleansing the system and doing detox and cleansing. It is because things like pesticides and medications and anything synthetic gets stuck in our system, gets stuck in our body, and makes our liver, kidneys, all of the processes, intestines work harder. So when you use something pure in replacement of some of these types of things that can have very similar benefits and less side effects, we're putting less toxic junk in our bodies that it has to process out. So extracts from plants, you're choosing really yourself. Families, kids can use, all ages can use oils in the right way, done in the right way. And this stuff has been around for thousands of years. It is a very natural way to care for your health. So some stats straight from the medical world. 2011 pharmaceutical drug misuse and abuse caused more than 1.4 million ER visits in that year alone. Looking at deaths from prescription drug overdose, so rising steadily. We all know in this last decade and two, when we talk about the opioid epidemic, I think none of this is now, it's so more mainstreamly being talked about that I don't think that's falling, on anybody's ears and being surprised by, but that it's becoming the leading cause of injury and death in the US. And that is coming directly from our CDC, right? The people were trusting with all of this health data. So Mother Nature versus medication. So the compound is really the difference, right? You can have hundreds of things going into a compound of a medication, and the properties, a single compound to have a property that's either, is synthetic if it's made in a lab, can be very addictive, can be dangerous if, again, taken in wrong dosages or taken for too long, is more of a slow acting process. And again, depending on what it is we're taking, has a different level of an expense to it, especially if it's something you're taking day after day, month after month, year after year. Compounds in a sense of a natural product, you've got hundreds to choose from. So when the composition's different, the properties are then just different. You have more range and variety and options. You've got, something that's, again, not addictive, very safe if used in the right way, more fast acting because of the way it gets into our stream and our system. And most of the time, less expensive, mostly because it's more bang for your buck. You're using less to get the same benefit. So I talk about doTERRA just because it's the brand I know. And again, there's other good brands. I'm not standing here to promote one over another. It's just to show you with this brand, what I stand behind is because of these components. Certified pure therapeutic grade. So CPTG is what you're looking for when you get an essential oil or any type of product, to know that it is being reviewed, it is being tested, it is being certified as what's on the label by a third party, by somebody that's not in the interest of the company and selling more. So they hire out to make sure that it's what it says it is. So safety, so if it has that safety and it's certified, it should be free of pesticides, other chemicals and residues. Again, has the potency compound that is standardized, so that, again, what you're getting and is what you're getting. And that the co-impact sourcing is just the way in which, I might have to go back to my notes to reference that. I was doing some reading last night, but I didn't put it all in the notes there. I may come back to that point as we go further. I just don't remember where I stuck that note. And again, purity, that you've got no artificial things and fragrances and fillers. Okay, so with what I use, what is in our office, with what we use in our house, what we promote, what you may smell in the office when we're spraying things aromatically, or we're doing, a diffuser, that's what we're getting. So how do you use an oil? A lot of people aren't sure. Oil should be labeled, or you'll get, or if you get oil books that I'll show you, the ones I use, for reference, they usually have a symbol, and it might be an A in a circle, an I, or a T. And that's usually just the way in which you can utilize the oil. Most oils you can aromatically do. That's like diffusing it, right? Or inhaling it. And that's the properties that, depending on what the oil does, can give you that calm, soothing, cleansing, again, purifying air, opening up airways, depending on what the oil is. Internally, there are a few oils that you cannot ingest, but most of them you can, again, at the right amounts, a couple drops per, say, an entire, bottle of water type of thing. And now a lot of the supplement companies, or the oil companies, are making them in that way. If someone doesn't want to just put oils on their skin or smell like an oil when they go to work, or, are around other people, you can get them in a pearl or a ingestible form, where it's the combination of oil in a little, pearl that dissolves, and you can take them in a sense like a vitamin now. That wasn't what happened back in the day, but that's how they're coming now. So it's also really rich in a culinary history. So there's a lot of, using a plant or using an essential oil that's come from the plant that people do for their oregano, their basil, their thyme. All of that is in an oil version now too. So I have oils that'll last me forever, because I need a drop or two for the entire huge pot of, say, a recipe or a stew or a broth or a soup to add to. So a lot of dietary type supplement components. Many things internally is for detoxification. So again, there's a whole list of things we can talk about that support the digestive system and detoxification, like what we covered in the cleanse workshop the other week. Taking them orally, helping throat, mouth, liver, and a lot of urogenital tract support is targeted with certain oils. So topically is the other way you can use things, and that again is literally using it like with massage, or most of the time diluted with a carrier oil. So I don't know that I checked my spelling. Did I put it here? No, I didn't put it here. So I think it's pronounced jojoba, but looks like J's, right? Looks like jojoba if you looked at the spelling of it, right? That's a good carrier oil. Coconut oil is an excellent carrier oil. You can use other types of oils that you would have in your house or even in your kitchen as, in a sense, a way of diluting. So carrier oil is just really what helps things work fast to enter the bloodstream within seconds. So more systemic approach, which then supports your immune system. So a lot of things that we do topically, it's just getting into the pores. So a great way to do oils topically, if you don't want to put them on your wrists, your pressure points, behind your ear, at your chest, is put them on the bottom of your feet, especially like in between your toes and right there at the balls of your feet. And then put a pair of socks on, especially for little kids, when you may not want to put it near their face and then them touch it and put it in their mouth or their eyes and, make their eyes sting or whatever, us as adults even as well, is putting it on the feet. It just absorbs through those pores right away. And so you can have that good effect without necessarily walking around feeling like you smell like, a walking oil bottle. So some people, because they're sensitive of other people they're around with sensitivities to smell, that's a great way to get it into the system, especially with little kiddos. So understanding skin sensitivity categories, this may be other terminology that you see with an oil and not be sure what that means. So neat is really, you're applying that topically, you're not doing any dilution because the oil is mild and it should not need diluted. Sensitive is where you're going to be diluting, especially for young people. So if you're putting this on kiddos or babies, or somebody with sensitive skin. And again, great fractionated coconut oil is my go-to. That's my favorite. A little goes a long way. And a decent bottle of even organic stuff is like maybe 12, 13 bucks for a nice, good bottle with a pump. So that's a great way to, again, make your oils last longer too, is to slightly dilute them just for use of, bang for your buck. And dilution should be mixed with the carrier oil. But again, it's that component to help carry the oils into the skin. So there's where I don't know if that spelling's right, but you all know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about those carrier oils now. Okay, so thank you, Kayla, for doing this. I put in kind of a top 5 with tips for prevention that I feel like are were always the go-tos for my families. And now that I've got a munchkin and have gone through 3 years now of having a few times of the immune system getting a little beating at different times of the year, or being around crowds of people, or being exposed to some things. I'm going to just do a quick rundown, but again, the slides you can always go back to on the recorded version if you really want to look at some of these details, or what you would blend or why you would use them. So lavender, melaleuca, breathe, On Guard, and digest zen. Now those are different names in different oil companies, but lavender's lavender. You're going to have pure single oils, which is the melaleuca and the lavender. Breathe is a blend. Thank you, honey. And On Guard is a blend. Digest Zen is a blend. So that's 3 to 5 oils combined in one bottle, and works, again, synergistically with different oils to create a bigger or different effect. So lavender is just, in general, everything for calming. So whether it's from a stress perspective, or calming things from an immune system perspective, or from a nervous system perspective when the body is in a stress state, or unable to kind of calm or shut down. It's also helpful for kiddos when we're dealing with, things that inflame them, right? Anything that's inflamed, like sinuses, allergies, earaches, things like that. Lots of different ways to use this. And that's beyond Essential Oil 101. So when we get into the next time we do oils, we'll dive more into some deeper stuff and ways to use it and how to blend things. That's easier also to do in office. So melaleuca, again, using for a lot of healing properties and things at the skin level. You'll see it used a lot for skin disorders and acne, things like that, but helpful very much with like eczema, psoriasis, things like that on when kids have sometimes skin breakouts. Breathe is, again, all about opening up the respiratory system. So, asthma, allergies, bronchitis, flu, sinus-y stuff, RSV, things where you need to dilate those bronchioles and get some air in. Breathe is what I would call the better and natural and healthier version of using Vicks, for those of us that grew up on getting lathered with Vicks on our chest and on our backs and under our noses and things. On Guard, which Breathe, they make in a stick version. Like, you can still kind of old school. It's just good essential oil in with like a coconut oil, and can rub that on the chest in more of a salve way versus just having an oil in a diffuser and things like that. On Guard is really, if I had to pick one oil and only one oil that gets used the most, hands down, in my house and world, this is going to be antiviral, antibacterial. So it's like in some companies using things like, or using thieves oil, right? This is a combination of things that create something that clears and supports the immune system. So it supports a weak immune system, really helps ward off things that are viral and bacterial. So you can clean with it and disinfect with it. You can also ingest it at different levels. So you can use it internally to support, you can use it to clear your environment and your air by diffusing it, and you can use it in the sense of topically cleaning. So there's different dilutions I use that I clean my counters, my bathrooms. When I got a puppy, which was my first child, my fur child, That was the first time I actually really started paying attention to what cleaners I was using and how much chemicals I still had in areas under my cabinet for my bathrooms and my kitchen. So all that went away when we were just like, oh, our puppy licks that and walks on it and touches it every day, all day. Then, a kiddo came around that's crawling and touching and licking everything too. And now it's On Guard that I use for all of that purpose of cleaning. So there's lots of ways to incorporate that stuff into having a cleaner and a safer household all the way around. Digest Zen is really targeting exactly like what it sounds, things that are digestive disruptors. So everything from, different levels of digestion and gut support. So great ways to use it are those top 5 there. There's multiple ways, but lavender and balance, great on the feet, like we were talking about, to encourage sleep or just kind of calming the system. Diffuser and is a great for On Guard and breathe, things on a regular basis that open up the bronchioles and clean out our air. Cleaning with oils, I just covered. Lemon, just what a great way to like have a clean, fresh scent. Clean with lemon. I use lemon and vinegar when I do the windows. Now it helps kill that vinegar scent to add lemon to the water, to do windows instead of like a Windex kind of ammonia cleaner. But cleaning with oils is hands down probably why I got into using oils to begin with. So the top 10 ailments that I feel like people use oils for are here on the screen. That's again a whole nother slew of I don't have that one for me. Slew of what you would do to support these and how you would use them. So this is a component where coming into the office or getting more of the handouts that we use is going to benefit you. If you think of, okay, I want to have what I would use for things like babies, respiratory issue, coughing, sore throat, emotional, or kind of maybe a behavioral component of somebody in that more high strung or ADD type state. Things with skin conditions, stomach, upset stomach, the bruises, cuts, scrapes, things like that. And then things like sleeping and ear infections, I feel like, again, targets kind of some of those families and think people with kids. But I'll tell you, I've had more adults with ear infections in this last 3 months that are having those lingering things after getting some of this flu that was been going around and bad colds and sinus infections than I have any of the kiddos that we take care of. So that's not just a baby thing right now. So another component that's really good to know and understand is dilution and how to. So again, that might be hard to read because it's a little faded. I took it off a different workshop. But again, having an understanding of where to start. It's not such rocket science that, oh my gosh, I have 7 drops instead of 10. None of that's going to make or break anything, but there's a component of you don't need too much. And again, if you're using this with a kiddo is when I would really dial into the dilution guide if you have sensitive skin or you're really working with the youngsters. And what percentage of a dilution you want to do. So a 5 milliliter bottle versus a 10 milliliter bottle. As an example, this is can you see that on the screen? 15 milliliter bottle, something that size. Okay, so a third of that is when they're talking about a 5 milliliter bottle. So that's really tiny. And then 10 mil is just slightly smaller than this. So if you think about a 10 milliliter bottle, you're doing, 12 drops of something, 15 drops of something when you're trying to fill, a several ounce bottle of, say, a solution. So everything is so different that that's something we have to dial in specific to what you want to use, but just knowing that there's dilution guides out there so that you feel like you're getting close to what your target is. So the last couple things I want to cover is just that I really feel like there is 0 reasons to be cleaning with toxic chemicals in this day and age with all that's out there. So if there's nothing else you get out of this, it's what could I replace something healthy, natural, still very effective, and get those chemicals out from underneath your countertop or your kitchen sink. So even if it's picking one thing, you could do it from a countertop perspective. You could do it with bathrooms. You could do it with using it for your hand soap instead of something very drying. In Colorado, it is so nice to use something like this where it's essential oil based, because in your hand, if you're washing, especially if you have to wash your hands a lot, whether it's in your profession or what you do, or just a habit of our hygiene and cleanliness that we all have, I feel, adapted more these last few years, is that you're using something that just isn't abrasive, but still does the job. So these, with essential oils, you can do oil to using some version of a non-scented, like castor oil or different types of soap, or not oil, soap, to where you have a very cleansing soap that isn't drying. I don't have to put lotion on my hands anymore after every time I wash it, because unless I go somewhere like public bathrooms and, you know, grocery stores and places where I have to use the bathroom, where they still use that really abrasive stuff, because it just does not dry out your skin. They also do it in the sense of not just cleaning agents, but for your laundry. You don't have to be putting some of the toxic chemicals or perfumes and dyes into your laundry and into your clothes that then touch your skin every day, all day. So there's a great component of how you can change those kinds of simple things. And in the company I use, at least, this is already pre-blended and made up. So you don't have to buy oil and figure out how, and all these ingredients and figure out how you're going to do it. If you want to spend a little extra money, as I will do hands down every day of the week to save time now, is get it already pre-done for you. You can already buy the laundry soap that way, the cleaner for like your spray bottles for your sinks, counters, bathrooms, floors, and then the hand soap is already like done in bottles, and you just pour it into whatever you use and pump it out in like a foam. So the best thing I ever did was to switch this kind of stuff over for my family's health, and just even just the safety of our skin and just what touches our skin every day, all day. So a few slides I have on here that I won't go into today, but I'll just show you, is just that having a chart like this and knowing where to put an oil or target an area for a baby or for yourself. This is the baby version of like a reflexology chart. And there's tons of stuff out there. I have the links there, so you can always go back and copy these links from the recorded slideshow if you want to go into some blogs and some areas that have some really good stuff for kids. And then there's the reflexology chart that you see a lot when people work on the feet or we're targeting different areas of the body. So there's a spot on the foot for like every organ gland in our body. So if we're trying to target an area, our spine on the inside or outside edge of our foot, areas for the intestines versus areas for neck, shoulder, and everything in between with our organ systems. There's a spot and a pressure point for that. So pressure points is one thing, but even just using essential oils and the way in which you can support those organ systems, that's a way that people target that as well. These are things that you can also copy down as ways to, well, I don't know what to blend with what. I don't even know where to start or what to get. These are some good blends that I use to kind of get you a different, whether you want something that's more floral, whether you want something that's more calming, whether you want something that's more uplifting, or citrus, which is just very kind of invigorating and energizing. So you can pick from some blends there and see how you're just using a couple drops of a few things to create all different kinds of scents. You can go crazy with this stuff. So we're going to end on some of the blends there, because we're going to do some blending in the office if people want to hang out and make some things to take home. So I've got some oils out here. Sorry for those of you in Zoom land, you're going to miss that part. But hopefully I've given you plenty of different recipes and some things here in the workshop that you can take down or screenshot here and make up some blends yourself or ask questions when you aren't sure. Another thing that I go to, and I don't remember the name of my book. Oh, I do. Here it is. This is a good go-to manual. Let me see if I can get it. Is that blurry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try putting your hands behind it. Just to focus it.
Yeah, I don't know why that's so blurry.
Oh.
I don't know why that's working, but it's working. Okay. See that? Okay. So this is, I go to aromatools.com. This book is great for an A to Z. What do you want to know? What would you want to use it for? What's the primary oil that would help with that component or support of that component? What's a secondary oil? So that's a great resource book if you like that. They also have it in an app, so you can just download the app. I think like the app for the whole book is like $7 or something crazy. And then you just have it at your fingertips on your phone. There's other little modern essential resources here that I have in the office. Jeez. And that is, again, kind of a quick little go-to reference guide that just shows about 20 or 30 different things you may want to use oils for in support of your health. So I'll have those at the office too. You guys can ask about those reference cards, take some pictures of them, and then just have something as a go-to if you're trying to figure out what you want to buy and how you want to start incorporating oils into your health regimen. So bring a takeaway to the office, what you want to change, what you're going to use, what you want to incorporate, what struck you the most from how you can make some healthier choices into what we're breathing in and putting into our bodies when you come into the office next. And I will try to save some take-home stuff for you to take with you if you didn't join us in office today. So thank you for being part of Essential Oils. And we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday on our workshop. Doc's going to be covering, oh yeah, top 5 foods for supporting your health
Top 5 foods
that are risky. Oh, that put your health at risk. Sorry, she already did the other version of that earlier in the year. So top 5 putting your health at risk is next Tuesday night. So we will see you all in the office, and we'll see all of those of you who may have won. We did our raffle tonight. Oh, hang on a minute. I'm trying to get that to stop. Oh, jeez. I hit the wrong button.
Mhm.
There we go.